Hey, welcome to today's lecture. Today we're going to talk about a request submitted by one of my friends, and she's asking whether we can have a visible row count for a particular data range. For example, here we have the data in the A column. If there's a formula to work out how many rows that have been displayed visibly in this kind of data range. For example, if I have a filter over here, if I manually filter these things out, for example, I leave this 0 in the place and I remove some of the non-zero ones. If you can give me a count about 1, 2, 3 over here, that would be practically the answer for her request. So she's not counting anything that is not 0, and also if it's a letter, we shouldn't count that. And also if it's hidden and if it's not visible, we should not count that. So basically, what she's asking is whether we can have a count number of visible non-zero cells that contains number only for the range from A2 to A10. So I have highlighted several important components in this kind of request. For example, we're only looking for the visible cells. Second, those visible cells should be non-zero. And also, if there's a letter or any other special sign, we should omit that. We only consider number only and for a particular data range. So actually 3 criteria is callback for today's title of this clip. It's called count visible cells with or visible rows with criteria. So very simple. I thought this is very simple and straightforward request from the beginning, but actually it's not. We know that for handling those visible things, we know there's a function called subtotal. Subtotal will only help you to get those visible count for those invisible cell, which means if you manually filter out from this physical filter, it will not take them into the consideration. So that's the core function that I'm going to be using for this part. For the non-zero cells, pretty straightforward because we can do, for example, over here, let's just make this smaller since I'm going to hide someone. So for example, I can do several parts. For example, I'm going to first tackle the orange task. So the orange task is say non-zero. We can use array to test if the data range, if it's 0 or not. So first we assign this data range as a name, say, let's just say we assign this as let's just say sample 1. Okay, once we have this sample 1, we can just type sample 1 to call it out. It will display the array exactly like what we have. And then we can use a logic function, which is this compare sign, and compare that with 0. And then we return a thing of true and false. Then we can cover that up with 2 double negative and put them inside. We're using 1 represent true and 0 represent false. For each of the cell, we're saying non-zero. So first one, non-zero. Second one is non-zero, but until this one, it is 0. So it's against that kind of rule that we're trying to validate. So it's becoming 0, which is false. This is the first thing that we tackle. And second thing, if it's a number only, we can do another one. We say equal to sample 1. Say its number is pretty easy. You can just wrap this up, cut it, is number. We use this function to evaluate each value in this array if they are a number or not. And then for the same trick, we cut this whole part, use double negative, and we close it by this way. Now we return a list of 1010 to tell us in each of the position in that list. For the position 1, if it's a number, yes. Second one is not a number. So this is a number only. Okay. Now for this one, we're going to say this is the main part that make our task pretty hard, which is the visible one, right? So for the visible one, we need to generate the same length of a list, and in conjunction with this 1 and 0 representation. Let's just recount something first. Let's just make this hidden. So for example, if I hit just 1, 2, and we just hit this 2. Okay, so you can see there's a gap between row 3 and row 5. Row 4 is hidden, and also there's a row 8 is hidden, right? So our visible is supposed to generate a list of 1 and 0 to tell us for each of the position in that particular array if it's visible or not. Simple as that. So first we can say we need to get something that is representing this list, because we know that our sample underscore 1 list equal to A2 to A10. So first we need to generate sort of thing. We can say this is A2 and A3 and A4 sort of things. And then we can incorporate this with this list into that subtotal. Then it will tell us whether it's visible or not. So let's just do this task first. So first we generate a list from A1, A2 to A10 to represent the position of sample. So we know that there's a function that are equal to row and let's just say sample one. See, this will give me a list, an array about the row count, the row number, actually row 2, row 3, that's good enough. Another part I need is I need A to be in the place, and I join them together, then I can get a list from A2 to A10, right? So now our task becoming, how do I generate a list of A? We can do that in several ways. So first we can have, say, equal to take. We're going to take the sample array, and for this array we know this is a list. It's a vertical one. We just get a position 1 of that list. Now we get a 1, right? And in this one, we can actually, we cut this part. We know there's another function called cell. Cell is let you get several information from metadata from information from a particular cell. For example, I'm going to get address, and then I'm going to put the previous one that I cut into this one, see what we got. Close this. Okay. This get me a position, exact position, absolute position of the A2, which is the starting point of that sample array data. So we take that one for the position, which is just number 1 itself, and then get into this kind of absolute position. And then I can cut this part again. I can use a text split. The text is the one that we need, and column delimiter, since we need to remove those, say the fixer, which is the $, we just put a $sign in that, and then see how it goes. Now this is becoming a spelled list, which is horizontally, and what we need is just the position 2, 1, 2, 3, right? We just need the position 2. So how do you point a position? You can use index. So that's the array point to, I'm not going to do any of we just need the row 1 and we need column 2, and then we can just close this. Now we get this A, right? So this is the spell function. This is another just the data within this F15. I can combine these two together to get a list of that. See if I use this in the front, and then I'm gonna just join this. Let's just copy this out first. I'm gonna use this, join with the one that I just have. Now I have this whole list of reference for the data range for sample 1. Then I can just cut this one, go into here and paste. Now I'm getting a list of this one. If I just highlight this part, the value will be 8. You see the double quotation, A2, semicolon, A3. In order to use this, we need to sort of and convert that into understandable by the system. So you need to use indirect. So indirect is the reference that we need. And then we're going to say that's the reference text. And then we close that. Now that's this part. That's fine. We can just cut this part. Then we use subtotal. Subtotal, we're using 103, which is count A, and then we paste our array, and then now you can see our visible list. We know that position C, this is the position 1, this is position 2, and this is position 4. In between, there's a 3 is hidden, which is row 4, and position 3 is hidden. Now, if I sort of time this one times this one times this one together, what this 1 and 0 actually representing is telling us, say, if you're only going to get the number 1 when 3 criteria are met. It's non-zero, it's number only, and if it's visible, it will becoming 1. Any of the condition, if it's not met, it will becoming 0 because you are using multiplication, which means AND function is doing. So all the criteria has to be true for you to get a 1. Any of them, if there's 0 or sort of 1 0 or 2 0 or 3 0, you will get a 0 definitely. So this one is actually representing our count of the number. For example, this one we know that by this kind of filtering out, we need 1 2 3 4. We count as 4. So if we sum this list, you can see this is 4. So if I test out, I just hit another one, 5, still becoming 3, 1 2 3. If I hide something that is not relevant, I should just get 3. So 3. So this function is actually working, but how we wrap them together into just one compact one? Easy. We can just, for this part, we know this is the first criteria that we try to validate. We can just over here, we can say equal to this one, and we can write it over here. And then our second one will be this one. We can just put a multiplication sign, and then we get our third one. Third one, we can just use a multiplication. Now it's our list. How do we get 3? Easy. We just wrap this whole thing with a sum function, because sum can work with array naturally now. That's our function, right? So if I want to do it more fancier, because if we test this kind of thing, the only thing that variable is becoming just the data range with a sample. So we can actually use lambda to hardcode that into our Excel memory to make it more usable in the world of this Excel workbook. But that's another story. You can reference my another clip to how to use lambda function to hardcode your long textual formula into an easy format. But here we just try to use a simple demonstration about how you should formalize your formula. You should always, like, say, break down your sentence into different pieces, and for each you have a core plate. For here we are using the not equal to sign to evaluate each value. Here we're using the same thing, it's number function. Here we're using a little bit complex, but we take baby steps to generate the result we want. So that's the whole concept that I want to talk to you guys. And if you like this channel, please subscribe. I hope you guys enjoy. See you guys in the next one.